an honor to welcome our guest this evening, Dr. Sam Osmanagich, Ph.D., a scientist, explorer, and internationally acclaimed researcher of ancient civilizations, pyramid structures, and sacred geometry. Dr. Osmanagich is best known for discovering the Bosnian Valley of Pyramids, Europe's largest and oldest known pyramid complex, where he has served as principal investigator since 2005. His work has captivated scientists and spiritual seekers alike by offering a new understanding of pyramids not as tombs, but as energy amplifiers designed to support healing, consciousness, and community well-being. Over the past 4 decades, he has authored 20 books, translated into 17 languages, published numerous peer-reviewed papers, and received global recognition for his pioneering research. His discoveries have inspired thousands to consider what we know about our past and what it means for humanity's future. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Sam Osmanagich, presenting pyramids around the world as ancient technology, science, energy, and consciousness.
Well, thank you very much for this nice introduction. Like you said, I've been researching pyramids and megalithic sites for the last 4 decades. And I have concluded that almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. For humans, we are told that we are a product of the evolution. Actually, it was the genetical engineering on the species before us 300,000 years ago. For the civilizations, they are teaching us in schools that the first one were Sumerians 6,000 years back, and then Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittite, ancient Egypt, China, and India 5,000 years back. And that's wrong also. This is only the last cycle of humanity. Before this one, just in the last 100,000 years, there are 5 more. There is no evolution, but cycle after cycle after cycle when it comes to the humanities. And finally, the pyramids. We have been programmed to think they were built in Egypt and Mexico, and they served as tombs for kings and pharaohs. During my investigation of the 155 Egyptian pyramids, not 118, as non-scientific Wikipedia claims, not a single mummy was found in those pyramids. Of course, the pharaohs had been buried, but in the Valley of Kings, Luxor, Karnak, Abydos, Dendera, Thebes, Memphis. In the 21st century, we simply need to apply the science to find out the true purpose of pyramids, who really built them, when, and how. Pyramids are not belonging only to Egypt and Mexico. They were built on all 6 continents, from 250 pyramids in central Chinese province of Shanxi, the 20 biggest one are more than 12,500 years old, built from the superior material, granite and sandstone blocks. Those who came much later, 2,300 years back, with the Emperor Qin, to 1,000 before present, were built using inferior mud bricks, which is used as a construction material even today. Pyramids in West Java, Gunung Padang, discovered by our friend Dr. Danny Hillman, is 27,000 years old and changes the history of the Asia forever. Koh Ker Pyramid in Cambodia, beautiful structure. We don't know who really built it. Pyramids in Africa, besides Egypt, 224 Nubian pyramids in northern Sudan, 7 pyramids on the island of Mauritius, 104 on Canary Islands, more than 300 of them in Peru, a Capena pyramid in Bolivia. My PhD was about the Mayan pyramids, more than 100,000 pyramids in the countries that we call today Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. Only in the Cahokia National Park, more than 120 pyramidal structures called by archaeologists in the US Cahokia mounds. A mound is something made from dirt. In the case of Cahokia structures, we have 4 different construction materials: shaped sandstone blocks, pebbles, rocks, sand. And when they completed those pyramids, they were covered by squares of grass and soil cut by the builders. They turned them upside down and covered those structures. In Europe, 3 Palencia pyramids in Spain, 43 on the island of Sicily in Italy, 1 on the island of Sardinia. 20 years back, after I've seen many pyramids around the world and completed my PhD, and at that time I lived in Houston, Texas, I came to my country where I was born, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I went to the town of Visoko to visit the local museum. It's a small town near the capital city of Sarajevo, half an hour drive. But what really caught my attention was this: everybody called it Natural Hill because it was covered with soil and vegetation. I was looking at its geometry: 4 sides, 4 triangular faces, 4 corners. I took compass. It showed me that those sides perfectly match the cardinal points: east, west, north, and south. And that's how the pyramids were built. China, Egypt, Peru, or other countries. So back in 2005, I got permission to do some preliminary research from the Ministry of Culture. Everything I did, there were anomalies. During my geological core drilling, archaeological trenches, lab analysis. I wrote a book. I had a big press conference in Sarajevo, and I announced that the first European pyramids had been discovered. I received 12,000 emails of support from all over the world. I realized this is not a one-man show. So I established a non-profit, non-government foundation under the name Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. We were registered for archaeological and scientific work and development of the archaeological tourism, because at that time I knew that we would need funds for our work. In the last 20 years, this project has become the most active archaeological site in the world. Every year, hundreds of volunteers, dozens of our full-time employees, and a great number of independent researchers and mainstream scientists come to Bosnian pyramid sites, join us in our work. Well, this is what we have concluded after 2 decades. We have discovered 7 pyramids, 2 tumuli. In archaeology, tumulus is the conical artificial hill, and 7 entrances to the underground tunnels, which we named Ravne tunnels, Ravne 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and KTK tunnels. The key structure in the valley is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, with its height of 368 meters, more than 1,200 feet, is by far the tallest pyramid structure on the planet, dwarfing the Great Pyramid of Egypt for 2.5 times. In a magnificent Egyptian pyramid, 2.5 million blocks, 6.5 million tons of material, 231 meters length of the sides at the base, 146 height. But the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun has more than 1 kilometer length, base more than 115 million tons of construction material. Which material? More than 20 archaeological trenches or sondas or sections where we removed 3 to 4 feet of the material. We've discovered rectangular and square blocks, one on top of each other. We've analyzed them at 7 different institutes for materials in Italy, Politecnico di Torino in Turin, Geopolymer Institute in France, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Bosnia. They all told us it was an artificially made concrete. Much better quality than what we can make today. When it comes to hardness, our concretes in 21st century are in the range from 20 to 60 megapascals. And what we have in Bosnia, after we've analyzed 120 samples, the range is from 74 to 155 megapascals. We cannot make this hardness, such a good quality concrete today, with all of our technology. The next element, very important for the pyramids, is the side orientation. All Chinese pyramids are oriented to the north. Cambodia, Indonesia, Egypt, Sudan, Peru, US, the same thing. So far, we thought the best orientation is from the Great Pyramid of Egypt, with an error to geographical north of 0 degrees and 3 minutes. Well, according to the Bosnian State Institute for Geodesy, 3 engineers came with the scientific instruments called total station. They got precision of error of 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds. This is the most precise orientation among all pyramids around the world. The next element, when it comes to the age, we've been applying 3 leading scientific dating techniques. The first one is radiocarbon dating. In Egypt, they've done only 4 radiocarbon dating of the Great Pyramid, and all 4 have shown dates older than the 4th dynasty ruler of Khufu, or Cheops, and they conveniently stopped. The most interesting mainstream archaeological site in the world is Göbekli Tepe, southeastern Turkey. Late Dr. Klaus Schmidt also did 4 radiocarbon dating, 10,000 BC or 12,000 before present, radiocarbon calibrated 13,800. This is just the minimum age, because those organic materials were found on the top of the plaster of those T-shaped megaliths. Before he died, he told me that probably the age of the site is between 15 and 18,000. Well, in Bosnia, after 28 radiocarbon dating, 12 luminescence analyses, and 7 uranium-thorium analyses, we realized that the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is 33,800 years old. And now it changes everything. So humanity is not 5,000, 6,000 years old, as they've been telling us in schools and media for decades. It is much, much older. This is not just one anomaly. if you take Yonaguni monuments on the bottom of the Pacific floor near the coast of Japan, there are 13 underwater cities between 30 and 80 meters below the sea level. They were built much before the end of the last ice age, meaning more than 12,000 years. Machu Picchu in Peru, it is not just one civilization, Incas, from 800 years back, but 4 of them. And the oldest, they go back probably more than 50,000 years. The true age of Egyptian pyramids, I think between 30 and 40,000 years. As I mentioned, Gunung Padang, West Java, 27,000 years. Eventually, the science will have to admit all these new scientific arguments and realized that it's been cycle after cycle, and we simply belong to the last cycle of humanity. Now, below the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids, below our 6 or 7 pyramids and 2 tumuli, we have huge network of underground tunnels. I see in the comments somebody mentioned those tunnels. At least 2 civilizations. First one, who built them more than 30,000 years back. And while building them, while digging in the conglomerate material, and conglomerate is nothing but pebbles, rocks, and sand. They've removed hundreds of thousands of tons of this material, which has been used as the construction material for the concrete blocks. All they needed was the binding material. Today, we use cement. But they were smart. They knew properties of the natural construction materials. And the best binder is melted clay. Where did they find huge quantities of clay? Well, every Bosnian hill has millions of tons of clay. So everything they needed to make millions of tons of concrete blocks was just a couple of miles around. Unlike builders of Egyptian pyramids who had to go to Aswan 500 miles or 869 kilometers to the south from the Giza Plateau, and then move those blocks 20, 40, 80 tons in Hufus, 220 tons in Catherine Spring. So this is the clear, direct link between underground structure and what is above the ground. Now I see people are asking me questions about the tunnels, the purpose of the tunnels. Well, let's go to the purpose of the pyramids. We've been telling that they were built as tombs for one dead body. Doesn't make sense. Why would you use millions of tons of material like in Egypt or Mexico or Peru or China and incorporate so much astronomical, mathematical, geometrical, geodesic knowledge for one dead body? They're telling us, leave the pyramids alone, they belong to the past. Well, I disagree. Pyramids were built, present and for the future, to be used by living communities. Why am I saying that? If you want to understand the purpose of pyramids, archaeology, Egyptology, geology, classical sciences are simply not enough. What they teach the students at the universities, find a piece of ceramic or primitive tools, and you're going to explain pyramids in Egypt. It's impossible. It has to be interdisciplinary scientific approach. And this is what we've been doing in Bosnia. Besides classical sciences, we have high-tech, geothermal, satellite, georadar analysis. We have experts in energy phenomena, engineers, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, physicists, atomic, nuclear, medical doctors, different forms of dating, as I mentioned earlier. And only with such multidisciplinary scientific approach, including the spiritual scientists, people who are sensitive enough, who can feel, we can explain the true purpose of pyramids. And this is what we have concluded. The pyramids are huge energy amplifiers. They are located above underground energy potent places. In the case of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. The pyramid pulls this field up, amplifying it. How do we know? Because we have measured at the base and at the top. At the top, electromagnetic field is 50 times stronger. Same frequency, but the strength is different. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have underground water flow. Water moves, kinetic energy. Water moves, releases beneficial negative ions. And the pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions, and like this guy said, the consciousness. I will come to that. How do we know that it amplifies negative ions? Because we measure. There's an instrument called air ion counter from Alpha Lab from US. We have two of them, and we measure the concentrations regularly. We have the highest concentrations of negative ions in the world. The next energy form. We discovered a lot of quartz crystal during our archaeological excavation on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and in the tunnels. Quartz crystal has the ability, one, to amplify the energy, two, to transform one energy form, in our case, electromagnetism, which we measure, to another one, ultrasound, which we also measure through the process known as the piezoelectrical effect. So, as we can see, the ancients were smart. They knew how to manipulate with the energy. They knew how to determine the location of their pyramidal structures. On the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have had 5 international teams of engineers and physicists. First from Croatia back in 2010, then from Serbia, from Finland, from Italy, and from Germany. They came at 5 different times: summer, fall, winter, spring. They came from different countries. They came with their own equipment, and they got the same results. At the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, they measured the existence of energy beam, which is 28 kilohertz frequency, which is continuous all seasons, day and night, and it is electrical and ultrasound in nature. How do we know? We measure oscilloscope, spectrometer, EMF. So, when you have those 5 teams who come from different countries, they got the same results. In science, it is called an international scientific verification of the phenomenon. Which one? It's energy beam going up 28 kilohertz. And then they sent a drone. The drone was flying about 1 meter, 3-4 feet high, and then 50 meters to the left, to the right, back and forth. Another 1 meter high, left, right, back and forth. So we went for about 100 meters. So we have covered a huge area. This energy beam looks like this. It's 13 feet diameter, and then it expands to 70 feet. 13, 70, 13, 70. And it gets stronger as it moves up. I'll answer the question about the ley lines also. But I can answer right now. We have a map of the ley lines, underground energy lines of the Balkan area, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, Montenegro. The biggest number of the ley lines, east-west, north-south, and diagonal, they intersect exactly in the town of Visoko, where the pyramids are located. So going back to this energy beam. So this energy beam is getting stronger as it moves above the pyramid. It is not very logical. What we would expect if the source of the energy is inside the pyramid or below the pyramid, you would expect that this energy strength is getting weaker and weaker as it moves away. But since everything is upside down in this country of Bosnia, our pyramids work differently. Energy beam is getting stronger. And the genius mind, which was born 200 miles to the west from here, of Nikola Tesla, 125 years ago, was investigating this special phenomenon, which he named scalar waves, or we can call them non-Hertzian fields, or Tesla's energy. Tesla realized that the scalar waves move quicker than the speed of light. And in the last 50 years, rational physicists, they came to the same conclusion. They move quicker than the speed of light, meaning that what they've been teaching us about Albert Einstein's hypothesis about speed of light being the biggest speed in the universe is valid no more. And it is on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, and also Moon Pyramid and the tumulus. What does that mean? It seems that the first potential purpose of the pyramid energy was the communication device. I see that somebody inquired about potential link between ETs and the Bosnian pyramids. Well, what I do know is if you have the energy beam, maybe not visible to our naked human eye, which is very, very limited, but obviously it can be visible to somebody who can scan the area, who can scan this planet, if it is a planet, and they realize that they have a huge energy source. Now, we measure the direction of this energy beam. First, we thought it goes like 90 degrees to the sky. No. In the morning, it's moved to the east. Noontime, south. Afternoon, southwest. Evening, west. Meaning it follows the path of our sun. Is it possible that our planet communicates with our sun? It is possible, of course. And maybe through our sun as the cosmic gate with other star systems. Technically, it is possible. But the pyramids are not only the transmitters. They do not only emit the energy or information. They are antennas. They receive the information. So most probably, the movement of information is two-way. So first potential purpose, pyramids were built as the communication devices. The second purpose, we will need to go to the Bosnian underground. I mentioned that we have a huge underground network. So far, we have cleared 3.6 kilometers, which is 2.2 miles. I suspect that originally we had more than 100 kilometers, 60 miles of these underground tunnels, most probably on several levels. So far, we discovered 2 levels only. When people enter the tunnels, they go for hundreds of meters. They can breathe very well. You would expect that one closed area with one entrance only, after so many meters, it would become hard to breathe. No. Deeper you go, you breathe better and better. Not very logical, but we have already concluded about the Bosnian logic. People who have respiratory problems, they breathe so well that after several times, they don't need air pump inhalers no more. People with a higher blood pressure, let's say 180 over 120, after one visit, drops to 120 over 80. So it gets normalized. People with a high glucose in the blood, we can see the significant reduce of this glucose. People with the pains, people even with some serious diseases, we can see how they improve their medical status. So even though we always say, we don't do healing here, we don't give medical guarantees, but what we do, we measure using scientific instruments. And we have measured 10 energy phenomena very shortly. The first 5 is the absence of all harmful radiations. For example, right now, most of us, if not all, are exposed, number 1, to the cosmic radiations. Some of them are harmful for us. They attack our body, and our body cells fight those enemies. Well, 20 meters, 70 feet under the Bosnian pyramids, in the tunnels, no harmful cosmic radiations, no enemies. Number 2, natural radioactivity. We use Geiger-Miller counters to measure radioactivity. Sometimes we walk the streets. Some places, this radioactivity is higher. We are not aware of that. And those rays, they attack our body. So our poor body cells, they fight enemies from above and from below. Well, in the tunnels, according to the instruments, the values are so low that we can safely say no radioactivity. Number 3, geopathogenic radiations, underground water flows. If we have beds and we sleep above underground water flow, we're going to get sick in 2, 3, 5 years. In the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels, those radiations have been neutralized. No Hartmann intersection, bad radiations, no Currys, no Schneiders. Number 4, no signal for the mobile phones, for the cell phones. Well, we can't live without the cell phones. Every time we talk on a cell phone, 4G or 5G, for 15 minutes, it burns 150,000 our brain cells. Now imagine, morning, daytime, evening, millions of brain cells today, day after day, millions after millions. It doesn't matter that we have 5 billion brain cells. So many millions affect the way we process the information. In the Bosnian pyramid tunnels, no signal for the mobile phone, no signal for the Wi-Fi. So we've been exposed to all this stuff in the tunnels. They are absent, meaning for the first time in our life, our body cells can start doing their job because they don't have enemies. They can start fixing the problems in our body. They can start the regeneration process and detoxification process. We can find more elements. Number 6, the best frequency of electromagnetic field, 28 kilohertz. That's the frequency of our planet, and she's our mother. We always get good stuff from our mothers. Number 7, best frequency of the ultrasound, 28 kilohertz also. That's the frequency of the levitation. We feel light when in the tunnels. Number 8, very low frequency, As a matter of fact, it is how it's called, ELF, extremely low frequency of 7.83 Hertz, better known as the original Schumann resonance, brings us back to the balance. Its resonance has not been around, especially in the big cities, for 4 or 5 decades now. Why? Because of our bad technology, computers, laptops, TVs, microwaves, cell phones, satellite dishes. Our cities have been contaminated with this bad technology. In Sarajevo, capital city of Bosnia, 12 hertz. Munich, million people there, 15 hertz. New York City, 18 hertz. Then we think it's mostly, when we account, 7.83 hertz. Imagine you go to New York or big city from 7.83 to 15 or 18 or 20. There is a disbalance, and disbalance creates stress. And stress is cause for 75% of our diseases. And you go to the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels or the Bosnian pyramids, the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, Love, sixth pyramid, we have 7.83, brings us back to the balance. Then we have organ energy or life energy. In Eastern traditions, they call them prana or chi. There is an instrument to measure the level of this energy. It works from 0 to 100%. It's a scale. And this instrument is called experimental life energy meter. It's produced in the US. Roughly, in the cities, 20% of life energy. Villages, nature, 50%. Bosnian pyramids and tunnels, 100%. And element number 10, negative ions. What are the negative ions? Students of physiology at the Faculty of Medicine, they should know that very well. Negative ions are some extra electrons in atoms or molecules of oxygen. Therefore, they are negatively charged. They are free in the atmosphere. What they need is something that's positively charged. For example, dust. Negative and positive attract each other. They connect. They become heavy. They drop to the floor. So they clean the atmosphere from dust. They clean the atmosphere from microbes, from smoke, from pollen. So, more negative ions, better for us. In our homes, offices, apartments, very low concentrations, 20, 30, 40, 50. We go outside, downtowns of big cities, 150. It's a little bit fresher. But we go to the mountain, in the pine tree forest, it's 1,000. It is 7 times higher concentration, 7 times healthier. Of course it is. I didn't say anything new. It's healthier to be on the mountain, in the forest, than in the big city. But in the Bosnian pyramid tunnels, from 20 to 60,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. I have those instruments, and I take them wherever I travel. It can be South Africa, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, Egypt, Jordan, Vietnam, South Korea. It can be US, Germany, France, all other countries. What we have in Bosnia is the highest concentration ever. So during the summertime, 50, 60,000, a lot of visitors. It's a healing concentration. Everything above 5,000 is healing. But in the wintertime, with the less visitors, more than 100,000, more than 200,000, occasionally even more. I did not measure it at the Niagara Falls, but I heard that it's about 100,000. In our case, it's 2, 3, or even 5 times higher concentration. So imagine you put those 10 elements together, no harmful radiations, only good energies, and they are all measurable. You get very powerful combination. The tunnels become the safest and the healthiest place on the planet. And it explains why hundreds of healing testimonials every year in the Bosnian Pyramid tunnels. So, the second potential purpose of pyramid energy is to protect what is the most precious to us, and that would be our health. You see how now it makes logical? Long distance communication, health. Number 3, water, the most important liquid in our life. We have discovered 5 open tunnels with the water. We've analyzed the water and compared to our city water. Our city water, even though medical authorities are saying, oh, it is safe, no microbes, no viruses, no bacteria, no fungi, yes, but they've been treated. They treat the water with the chlorine, which is a poison, all our life. They ask about the contact. Well, my contact, I have my official scientific website, which is drsamosmanagich.com, drsamosmanagich.com. So you're going to find the contacts there. So we've been drinking poison all our life. The second poison they add is the fluoride. They say, oh, the fluoride is good to protect our teeth. Oh, really? Well, it even causes the tooth diseases. But that's the least problem. It attacks our brain system and it closes our pineal gland, which is our window to the spirituality. And it's been done purposely by the elites. They don't want us to be spiritual. They want us to live only in this materialistic world, which they rule using the media, which they established, using the educational system, which they run, using the governments, which they appoint. So the fluoride is obligatory in United Kingdom, Republic of Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, 1/3 of the US, Argentina, Chile, France, and so on and so forth. Number 3, poison number 3 in our water, traces of heavy metals. We capture the water somewhere in the mountain at the source. Water goes through metal pipe. It melts the metal. This is what we drink. Number 4, in our kitchens, it comes through plastic pipe, melts the plastic. And guess what? Medical studies show that the leading cause of the cancer, not counting the vaccine, the leading cause of cancer is microplastic. During the abductions, it's been discovered in our heart, in our brain, like never before. This is the water that we drink. And guess what? Pyramid water has not been treated, no poisons, pH perfect, 7.45, the same like pH of our blood. And when we sent samples to late Dr. Masaru Emoto from Japan back in 2012, he got our pyramid water and sample the city water that we sent, got it frozen, -4 degrees Celsius, took the photos through electronic microscopes, and we could see the difference. City water, no form, no structure at all, energetically dead. Pyramid water, beautiful hexagonal structure with a crystal-like, most wonderful structure. Once you look at the molecular structure, you can conclude this is a happy water. And indeed, pyramid water is a structured water. It vibrates high. They don't teach us in schools about the vibrations. You know, we are what we drink. We are what we eat. We are what we think. And we are where we spend our time. If we eat the wrong stuff, if we drink poisoned water, if we think bad all the time because we watch the TVs and computers and listening the news about the wars, about the crimes, about all this bad stuff, we're going to be vibrating low. We're going to be anxious, we're going to be nervous, we're going to be aggressive, we're going to be violent. We vibrate low. And the opposite. We drink pyramid water or high vibrating structured water. We eat the right stuff. We have love for all the world. We vibrate high. And what is the purpose of our life? I spent more than 20 years in Houston, Texas. In the US, they've been teaching us about the consumerism. The purpose is to find a better job, make more money, to get a bigger loan, bigger mortgage, to buy a bigger house, and bigger car, and a bigger. Okay? And when you are 70 or 80, you turn back. So what was the mission in my life? To get more stuff, to grab more? It cannot be purpose. Purpose is to live fulfilled life, to give, to share, to be happy, to love and be loved, and to vibrate high. According to my modest opinion, that would be the purpose of our life, to vibrate high. Let's start with the water and the food and what we think and how we share. Share. Now, if you have 100 and you give one to somebody, that's not really sharing. But if you have one and you want to share that one with somebody, that's true sharing. The third purpose or potential purpose of pyramid energy is to improve the most important liquid in our life, water. Number 4, food. We've done experiments with the seeds of beans. One bag with the seeds we kept home, control group. One we put inside the tunnels, one we put on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. After 15 days, we were checking the germinization, how many seeds started growing. In the case of control group, 60%. What does that mean? When you go and buy seeds of anything, it can be flowers or vegetables or fruits, we plant them, not every seed will start growing. The percentage was 60%. But the seeds from the pyramid tunnels and from the top of the biggest pyramid in the world, they had 100% success. And then we planted them in our most beautiful park, Ravne 2, where we transformed neglected, swampy, muddy land, which I purchased, spending all my US savings, transformed into the most beautiful park. Well, among tens of thousands of plants and bushes and flowers, we did experiment with the seeds of beans. And we could see, and the season for the beans is from May until beginning of September. We could notice that the pyramid beans were growing 3 times quicker, richer, healthier. So pyramid energy affects the food. It affects our DNA. Number 5, during the Corona project, we were told that the only way out is to get vaccinated. Well, being vaccinated or not, everybody would get COVID. And then the question was not the vaccine, but the immunity. And guess what? Visiting the tunnels, your immunity goes up. Number 6, spiritual senses. When I use the word spiritual, I have certain definition in my mind. For a lot of people, and this is how they taught me in the schools, they were telling us that spirituality equals religions. Well, religions, I respect that. Religion is something else. Faith is something different also. spirituality for me is development of spiritual senses. So we can sense the world beyond the physical reality. What is the physical reality? Well, it is based on our 5 physical senses. We can see, we can hear, we can taste, we can smell, and we can touch. But our physical senses are very, very, very limited. For example, what we can see are only those 7 color frequencies. The low frequency of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And they are 0.7% of all color frequencies, meaning we cannot see 99.3% of all events around us. Dogs and cats, they can see a little bit more. They can see souls, they can see orbs, they can see extraterrestrials, we cannot. So we have eyes, but we're actually blind. Secondly, what we can hear. Well, we hear sound. Sound is from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Everything above 20 kilohertz is called ultrasound. We don't hear 30 kilohertz or 50. We don't hear megahertz. We don't hear gigahertz. But also we don't hear very deep sounds, infrasound, 12 hertz, 8 hertz, 2 hertz. What we hear is 1% only of all sounds. We have ears, but we are deaf. Our physical world, which is based on physical senses, is just one little circle. And everything else above us, let's call spiritual world. This is the world of spirituality. So when I define spirituality, I said development of spiritual senses so we can sense the world beyond the physical reality. So we can sense at least a small portion of that 99% that is beyond our senses. For example, when people come to our tunnels, there is a place, our famous mega ceramic block K2. We ask them, open your hands. Can you feel something about this block? And people start feeling sensations. They feel tingling in their fingers. They feel warm, cold. They feel the energies. That's the first spiritual sense. With the practice, they can start seeing the energies. Number 3, they can start seeing the colors of energies. Now, imagine that you can see bioenergy field, colloquially known as the auric field of other people. If some people have a lot of red color, you would know you should avoid that person. A lot of red, aggressiveness. They're not happy because of something. So let me find somebody else with, for example, green and blue color. Green and blue, oh, health, sharing, love, good persons to be with. Or indigo, spiritual person. Or white, probably the guy spent 7 years in a cave meditating only. So imagine that we can see the colors. Our world would change. Then we could not give false statements or untruths all the time. People go and say, well, I am the smartest, I am the most handsome guy, I'm the most modest guy. People talk. But imagine if we can see, we would know exactly what they consist of. The next spiritual sense, exchanging the thoughts, telepathy. If we could communicate using the telepathy, then our world would change also. We would understand each other 100%. And then telekinesis. We have ability to move objects with the power of our mind. Go back to the original people of America or original people of Australia, which British called non-original, aboriginal. Well, original people from the previous times, if they had drought, no rain for 3 months, they would do the rain dance. Once I was in Arizona, always blue sky. And the Navajo Indians were doing rain dance. Clouds started coming only above us, and little rain came. So now we are coming to maybe the most important spiritual sense, and that would be movement through space and time. Is teleportation possible? Let me give you an example. A lot of literature about the clinical death. For example, you're laying in the surgery room in the hospital, very complex surgery. For 5 minutes, doctor stopped your heart. What's happening during those 5 minutes, which is called clinical death? Well, an entity is going out of the body. Let's call it the soul. Now, soul is close to the ceiling, looking down. It can see its body, which is lifeless. It can see doctors. It can hear medical nurses. So now we're thinking, hey, what am I? Am I that lifeless body? Or am I a soul? Well, I can think, so I have my soul intelligence. I can see, I can hear, so I have my soul senses. Let me see if I can move. Let me go to the next room. And voila, we go through the wall, we are in the next room. Another surgery going on. All right, can I move out of the hospital? You just thought about it, and we are out at the parking lot. So we can move. Now, can we move through time? How about I go back 2,000 years, Alexandria, Egypt, and let me see if Cleopatra VI was really the most beautiful woman ever. Next moment, we are at her chamber. We can see her, a bunch of girls around her, helping her, becoming very beautiful. We're looking at her, thinking, well, maybe she was not the most beautiful, but for sure she had the best makeup ever. And now we are thinking more, hey, I can move through space and time. I have no limits. And that's exactly the definition of the freedom. No limits. And then we think some more. This is not the first life that we've been having. Before, I've had many more. Different planets, different star systems, even different galaxies. Meaning, I'm going to have many more in the future. So, if I'm going to last for billions of years, why should I fear in this particular life? No need for fear. So, while we are lamenting about these new powers that we are discovering, the surgery is getting to the end. It was very successful, sewing us back, and boom, boom, our soul is coming back to our body. But we remember. After a couple of weeks, we go back to our office, Monday. Bosses are usually very nervous on Mondays. They start yelling at us, why this report is not ready, why this blah, blah, blah. Before, when they yell at us, we would listen. We would not talk back because we were afraid if they fire us, We're going to lose ability to pay the mortgage and commercial loans. We're going to lose the house and the car, education for our children, because we lived our lives in fear. But now something has changed. No need for fear. So for the first time, we tell this guy, we tell this boss, don't talk like that to me. Matter of fact, you never talk to me like that. This guy, he becomes furious. I'm going to fire you. No, you are not. I'm going to leave right now. Find myself another job and live different life. My back straight. I will live in dignity. So you see, the spirituality is about realization, about our freedom and not to live in fear. And indeed, when we come to this planet, it's our cosmic right, it's our divine right to be spiritual, to live in a dignified way, and to be free. So you see, for me, spirituality is something so much different than religions or faith. Respect both of it. Spirituality becomes very important. And guess what? The pyramid energy affects our spirituality, helps us develop those abilities, helps us to share. So once we realized pyramids were built, long distance communication, to protect our health, to improve our water and our food and our immunity and our atmosphere and our spirituality, we realize they were built not for one dead body, but they were built for living communities, to serve them for hundreds of years, millennia. And this is what they don't want us to know. When I started this project, everybody and his brother were against me. Archaeologists from Bosnia, geologists, historians, museums, Ministry of Culture, European Archaeological Association, archaeologists from UK, from France, from Germany, from Poland, from US, geologists from New Orleans, Shock, independent researchers from Boston, Dr. Zahi Havas from Egypt, everybody against me, everybody wanted to stop this project. And now I know why. Because we revolutionarily change the narrative about the pyramids. So we started as the archaeological project, expanded to scientific. We got to the energy aspect. We got to spiritual aspect. We got to healing aspect. And like it was not enough, I moved back from US, from Houston to Bosnia, to Visoko, 100 meters from the tunnels. I purchased this swampy land. 2 years we were cleaning and clearing and draining the water. And we transformed the swamp into the most beautiful park. We've been building for 10 years different installations. We combined the art, sculptures, with the true history of humanity and true history of the region. We built a sport complex, and we are debt-free. More and more people comes. They enjoy our site. Our official blue flag, blue, endless sea, and endless sky. It says, peace, love, freedom. That's what the life is about. 2008, we had 10,000 visitors. 2015, 40,000. 2023, 195,000. 2024, 245,000 visitors, guests, tourists, researchers, media. School kids came to our site. Not a dime from the government, even today, because of the pressure from archaeological establishment. And yes, the cultural elites, they rule Wikipedia and all those sites, even National Geographic, Smithsonian. They hide big secrets. They give us little bits and pieces. It's up to us to find out true history and our roots, which is not a few thousand years, but hundreds of thousands of years. It's up to us to take destiny in our own hands. We are open for volunteers who come every year. In the last 16 years, 4,450 of them from 64 countries and 6 continents. They come 2, 3, 5, 10 days, 2 months. They do pay for the accommodation, but it's cheap. It's 30, 40, 50 bucks a day. They stay for a week or longer, but they become part of a discovery. We are discovering the best quality and all these concrete blocks in the world, all these tunnels, organic materials, artifacts. They become part of this exciting journey. We do everything different. You go to Egypt, probably most of you who's been listening to me. You were in Egypt. Wherever you go, it's confidential. You cannot go there. But give me some money and you can go there. They're not about such a petty commercial stuff. This is the most open project. Anybody can become part of it. First step, come visit us. So, and I think I've been talking for too long now, but I think I've been giving you a good idea what the Bosnian Pyramid Project is. It is not like Wikipedia say, claimed by this guy, Sam Osmanagich. They don't even give me a title. Ph.D., member of several European Academy of Sciences. They're just saying, oh, archaeologists, geologists dismiss this. They are just the natural hills. Really? Well, if you feel that you vibrate with my words, I hope I'm going to see you in Bosnia. It can be this coming June. Every June, we organize our Bosnian Pyramid Summer Solstice tour, festivals, and concerts. This year, we're going to have Michael Cremo, author of the legendary Forbidden Archaeology. Willie Carson is joining us also in June. Brad Olsen from US. We have researchers from Australia. Stephen and even Strong, great researchers. We have more people from UK, Mexico, and Greece, and Bosnia. You will love that. But you can come anytime. We are open 365 days a year. We take tourism for real, because this is how we finance all our activities. We have wonderful, skilled official guides. So you can come anytime. Just fly to International Airport in Sarajevo, through Vienna or Zurich or Frankfurt or Istanbul or different places. It's just half an hour from there. So I believe that once you come, if you intended to stay 2 days, you're going to stay for a week. Those who come for a week, oh, somebody's coming this Saturday. Okay, come this Saturday. Well, volunteering season is usually from beginning of June until the end of October. June, July, August, September, October. Our archaeologists are there, so they can, get everyone involved. But if you're coming this Saturday, you're going to have a rare opportunity to see 0.5 meter, 2 feet of snow. Maybe it will be even more than that, which perfectly fits global warming agenda. So we're going to have by Saturday probably -15 or -18 degrees Celsius. No global warming here. We have 4 seasons. Winters, they tend to be very cold with the snow. So I would say that our mother planet is stronger than us, and then our civilizations, and then the agenda from the elites. Well, I think that's it what I had to say for now. And if you want to do some questions, I'll be happy to answer some of them.
Thank you, Dr. Sam. That was a magnificent talk, and we've gotten such wonderful glowing phrases for you that I'll send them to you in email, just how people are so thrilled with this presentation. We're going to have some questions for you. There's a lot of questions. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, but Daniel, do you want to start with the first one?
Okay, great. There are so many questions. I'll start at the beginning. Well, actually, there are so many members. They are asking if there are pyramids in their countries, as they're asking for northern Sweden, in England, in Italy, South Africa, Antarctica, yes, Romania. So,
Okay, let me say a few words. In Italy, besides the pyramids on the islands of Sicily and Sardinia, which are very visible, there are 5 potential pyramid sites where those pyramid-shaped hills are completely covered by the forest and vegetation, like Monte Vecchia pyramids and some others. So it's very possible that this coming September 2026, I'm going to take a group of experts from different fields and we're going to check on all those sites and we're going to see if they are artificially made, if they are shaped, or if it is just the work of nature. But it is possible. As far as Sweden, I'm not aware of pyramids, but the tumuli, yes. There is a tumulus like in the southern part of the country, the tumulus near the capital city of Stockholm. So they have megalithic sites. Sweden is very interesting and attractive country when it comes to the prehistorical societies. When it comes to Antarctica, there are 3 to 4 very intriguing sites, what we can see based on the photos, because unfortunately we cannot go there to independently verify those sites. But one of them, which is the most promising, really does have 4 triangular faces and very good orientation. So it's very possible that it's been shaped in the distant past. And as we know, Greenland has not been like this for forever. Namely, the maps that show, not Greenland, but Antarctica, I'm sorry. Antarctica, the maps like Piri Reis, a map made by the admiral from the Ottoman Empire, the beginning of the 16th century, which was based on all the maps from Babylon, based on even all the, from Egypt, based on even all the, maybe from the land of Atlantis. They show Antarctica with no ice coverage. They show many more rivers in South America. They show perfect shores. So obviously it's possibility that some, advanced civilizations did live on Antarctica at one point at the time. There are some potential pyramids in Brazil on several locations, especially the Amazon, Colombia also, South Korea, only 3 of them remained today. Even Australia, eastern part of Australia, there was a pyramid there. Fortunately, it was north of Brisbane. Unfortunately, Australian government destroyed it 3 years back. They said, we have to build this highway exactly here. South Africa, I know my best friend Michael Tellinger is saying that next to the Adam's calendar, which I've been there several times, we've been taking groups in South Africa, Zimbabwe. He was showing me in far pyramidal hill. Unfortunately, I didn't go to check it, so it's not impossible. Which country you mentioned also? Romania. I was in Romania last time, a couple of months back. Of course, I went to see potential Sphinx on Buceji Mountain. Now, is it artificially made or it's erosion? Like from 90% of different angles is just the erosion. But only from one particular angle, when you look at it, it looks like there is an eye, there is a face, there is a body, but I would say probably not. Probably it is a natural phenomenon. Now I have received several mails with the potential pyramids. They're all covered by vegetation. I'm going back to Romania in 2027, so I'm going to be checking on those sites. In Turkey, a lot of tumuli phenomenon. We haven't seen pyramids, but even the tumulus is artificial conical hill. Some of them are huge. Turkey, some of them are so big. In Israel, the one that is assigned to King Herod. It's a huge tumulus. It said it is artificially made, but it looks like a mountain. So I would say there are many secrets from the distant past. And to think that we are the only advanced civilization does not make much sense to me.
Okay, thank you so much. They are also asking for the Caribbean, and how can members find these pyramids? Are there maps or on internet, on the web?
Caribbean, of course, we do know about the potential pyramids near the coast of Cuba. And based on some sonar scans, it seems that there is not one, maybe 3 pyramids on the bottom of the floor of the Caribbean Sea. If there is an artificial structure there, it might be connected to the big story of the Atlantis before the end of the last ice age. So older than 12,000 years. Bimini Road might be part of the story, but it has to be investigated. I know for the longest time, Fidel Castro, the Cuban leader, did not allow investigation. Maybe some different winds will come with the new governments over there. Maybe it will be allowed. In ancient Greek territory, there were 16 pyramids on 16 different locations. In ancient Rome, Cestius Pyramid, which mimics the Nubian pyramids. That one was done a couple of thousand years back. And of course, we have modern pyramids. A friend of mine, Valery Uvarov, very productive pyramid builder. He built pyramids in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and a huge complex in the middle of Siberia. And 33 pyramids were built. Unfortunately, the investor, he's in prison right now, so the project has been stopped there. Besides that, in India, our good friend, late Patriji, Brahmarshi Patriji, he started the pyramid spiritual science pyramid movement. And they built several big pyramids. The one in Bengaluru or Bangalore can host 5,000 people. It was built exclusively for the meditation. And it's a replica of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, just 3 times smaller in the scale. But there are hundreds of pyramids in that central area from Bengaluru, in western part of central India, all the way to the Indian Ocean on eastern part. So people use it for different things, from the meditation to healing, even the smaller pyramids. If it is small copper pipe pyramids, also it can have good effects. But the more elements you have, geometry, regular geometry, square base, 4 triangles, I'm talking about equilateral triangles, perfect orientation, east, west, north, south, quartz crystal, and so on. More elements we have, the pyramid is going to be more effective. And finally, the question, where they can find all of that? Well, I'm the author not of 20, but 22 books. And my website with the free reading, you can read my books for free, is booksbydrsam.com. booksbydrsam.com. One of them is Pyramids Around the World. And so they can find a lot of information about the pyramids everywhere else.
Great, thank you so much. Angela.
Daniel. So Dr. Sam, somebody brings up the idea, is there like a central pyramid that communicates with all other pyramids, or do they just equally communicate with one another?
If they were built at the same time, then that would be the right question. But since they've been built by different civilizations in a very large time span, I mean, we are talking tens of thousands of years, I wouldn't say that there is a central or, key or major pyramid. Now we can go by the age, we can go by the height, the volume, but eventually I think once the archaeologists open up and they start allowing other interdisciplinary scientists to get in and to start measuring, then we can at least measure the strength energetically of different pyramids. A good friend of mine, his name is Professor Konstantin Korotko from University of St. Petersburg. He's a brilliant scientist. He is the author of 17 different patents. Some of them are made exclusively to measure the pyramid energy. So for example, he was doing measurements in Egypt, Giza, Teotihuacan, Mexico, and Bosnian pyramids. And he said by far the Bosnian pyramids are the strongest. So I'm not claiming they're going to stay strongest forever. They're going to stay the biggest forever. Probably there are some bigger and stronger. But eventually, once people open themselves up, I think they're going to start finding a lot of secrets from the past. And yes, I think that the majority of the pyramids have not been uncovered yet. I mean, take Central America. Belize, the tiniest country in Central America, had, during the Mayan civilization site, 1,000 cities, towns, and villages. And every one of them would have several, if not dozens of pyramids. So in little tiny Belize, tens of thousands of pyramids. And the place with the most pyramids, Guatemala and Mexico. So when I say 100,000 pyramids there, it's very, very modest. And 97% of them are still under the forest. Somebody asked about the connection, the three-eye atlas and the pyramids. Well, we're going to see, I mean, we in that time frame, December, January, and if there is a communication to come to our reality, then, we will know if they are there, if they are going to communicate, or if it is artificial object at all. Something is happening very unusual, no doubt about it. But if there was no communication in December or even November or October 6th, and people thought something's going to happen, then I'm not quite sure if anything will happen at all. If it is maybe just some cosmic objects on its way through our solar system, what's going to happen, I don't know. Okay, all right. Any more?
Okay,
Thank you.
yes.
Dan, you want to offer the last questions and then we'll let Dr. Sam finish up.
Oh, that's a hard one because it's the last question. There are so many. People are asking about if there are crystals missing from the top of the pyramids. Because, they have heard that on the top of the pyramids to fortify or to amplify the energies, in the ancient times, there have been crystals. What do you think or know about it?
We are the only pyramid project in the world, proving that there is energy being going through the top of the pyramid. People were guessing, they were thinking, they were intuitively feeling that there was something like that in the case of Egyptian pyramids, but we are the first one to measure. This is what I can tell you. The top or pyramidion is extremely important because it can amplify and it can focus the energy. And it would be logical to expect that instead of stones, even if they are granite or limestone, that you would have something to amplify the energy. It can be gold-plated granite, it can be gold, it can be quartz crystal. With the quartz crystal, we add another element. Quartz crystal stores the information. This is the future of our computers and chips, and it's not a silicon-based, it's not something else, carbon-based. It is, crystal-based because it can store so many millions of times information more. So I believe that in some cases, we did have, like in Egypt, for sure, gold-plated pyramidions, and they're missing now. All of them are missing now. That's strange. Some other places, probably there were crystals. Like we hear in Bosnia, especially corners of pyramids, they got so much crystals. And when you look, for example, the fourth largest pyramid in Egypt, it's called Bent Pyramid in Dahshur. The corners have been damaged tremendously, and you can see a lot of quartz crystal there also. So corners were very important for the purpose of pyramids. So I would say not only on the top, but also everywhere else. Don't forget, limestone has a high content of crystal. Granite, even higher content of crystal. And I already explained the role of the quartz crystal.
Okay, thank you so much. Great.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sam. Is there anything you want to leave us with? Any final thoughts, what you're working on or what's coming up next? And just give us your final thoughts.
We've been staying very busy during the winter time. We work in underground tunnels despite the snow that we have last few days. Tunnels round 5, round 6. So we continue our work. And all the elements that I mentioned, science, and true history, and archaeology, and spirituality, and the healing, and the culture, and the sport. So what we do, it's a new concept of the future. Unlike what we are offered nowadays as the new Western values, they are telling us our future is transhumanism, so we lose our humanity. They're telling us our future is upgraded human with a biochip under our skin, so they can control us 24 hours a day. They are telling us the future is in digital money and digital banks, and they've been doing everything to achieve that. Well, we have cash in our pocket, we have freedom. If everything is in the banks, they control how, when, and how much we spend. And eventually they're going to be controlling if we can spend our own money. They're telling us the future is the GMO trash, which they call food. They're telling us the future is poisoned water and poisoned food. They're telling us so many things. Well, here in the Bosnian Pyramid District, we say no. These are not our values. The future of humanity is in harmony among us, normal, good, intentional people, and harmony with the Mother Nature. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sam. This has been a wonderful, wonderful talk. And I want to thank everybody who came, and I hope you'll all come back to our next Worldwide Voices. Good night, everyone.
Good night.